Welcome, Ranger fans, to our second week of our Coaches Show, where we'll look back at last week's game against Madison, our big win over Madison at Comalander Stadium. We'll take a look at our other sports, what went on the previous week and what's ahead for them, and then we'll talk about this week's district opener against Wagner. So thank you for being here, and let's go back to the Madison game. Last Friday night at Comalander Stadium, took on the two-time defending district champion Madison Mavericks, and won 31-6. And Coach West, for a little bit of a slow start maybe for our defense. Madison, when they get the ball first, what happens there?
Well, we came out and we didn't fit things exactly how we practiced them early on. First drive, they got us on a couple of explosive plays. Gave up a couple of explosives in the early part of that game. Right. Gave up a couple of third down conversions early. But as the game wore on, I felt our kids settled in. I thought they did a good job of adjusting to what Madison was trying to do to us. And we certainly played a lot better third down defense as the game wore on. We ended up stopping them on 9 of their 12 third downs. They converted the first 2 of them right off the bat. So we played significantly better as the game wore on. I thought our kids did a good job of just kind of hanging in there and trusting their keys and fitting things better, playing our gaps better as the game wore on.
Well, you see that a lot. You know, you watch a team on tape, as we did with Madison, and then we try to simulate it in practice. But players in practice can't run opponents' plays as well as the opponents can. They're not used
exactly
to it.
Right.
And so oftentimes you think you've got a good plan, and our kids know the plan, but you see sometimes early in the ball game you get stung because the speed of the game. It didn't happen like this week in practice.
Happens a lot. Our scout team obviously can't run Madison's plays as good as Madison can. And,
right.
So we got to do a better job of adjusting to that sooner. You know, obviously we don't want to start giving up a touchdown early in the game like that. But I think our kids will learn from that, and I think we'll be able to adjust faster as the season wears.
Well, what you hope is now Madison hadn't blocked people the speed of that we're playing defense. You know, that's what you got to sell your players on. Now, offensively, Coach Shin, we got off to a quick start. Went down and scored, touchdown the first drive. How did that take place?
I was very pleased with that. The guys came out and made up their minds. We're going to set the tempo of the night and establish the run game. And Garrett Brooks went in there with the O-line blocking for him. Had some big runs. Maverick Freeland had some catches and took advantage of some one-on-one coverage. And then I think it was a six-play drive. Garrett punched it in there at the end and kind of just set the mood for the rest of the night. Now we weren't perfect, right. But it was a good way to come out of the gates, especially getting the ball first.
Got some penalties we got to eliminate offensively, huh?
That's right. I call them knucklehead penalties. Okay, we got to just get rid. Don't hurt ourselves. We're already playing an opponent. We don't need to play ourselves as well. So our guys were more upset with those penalties than probably us coaches. So I think they're really going to learn from it, and they understand that it's a lot harder to convert 1st and 15 or 1st and 20 than it is 1st and 10. And if we're going to go maintain drives, then we can't do that.
So you say they were more upset than the coaches. I'm going to say it was a tie. So,
yeah, that's right. I think you were pretty upset now that I think about it.
Yeah, those self-inflicted wounds are tough to overcome. As you say, the opponent's good enough. But did some really good things. And, Coach Westford, I thought as the night went on, our defensive front began to take over the game from Madison's offensive front.
I thought so, and our defensive line is one of the strengths of our unit, I think. And then, of course, with the way Coach Shin and offensive coaches are doing over there, they got a lot of time to rest on the sideline. Our offense has done a great job of getting long drives, and I don't know what the time of possession is the first 2 weeks, but I know we're winning that pretty handily. And that's always good for our defensive linemen. They're well rested. They go in there, and I think they're pretty tough to block.
Well, they ran the ball effectively on that first drive, as you mentioned. But then as the night went on, I thought we took away the run, and then that kind of made them one-dimensional. And I think when somebody's one-dimensional, the advantage is yours. And, I thought the real momentum swing was, we scored first drive, but they go down and score, but we blocked the extra point.
Yes, sir.
So special teams matter. We didn't like giving up a score, but we're still winning.
Yeah.
Diego Hamilton took that ball in the face. I don't think he meant to block the kick. It hit him right in the face, and he was the most stunned guy in the stadium. Yeah. But special teams did play a big role. We mentioned the block kick. I thought our kickoff coverage was outstanding. I think the exchange of punts when we punted versus when they punted, we kept getting a better field position deal than they had. And, that didn't show up in the stat sheets. Doesn't get talked about much, so I thought we'd bring it up on this particular show. So a good win, but we're 2-0, which, we originally had 3 non-district games, but now we just have 2 with the rescheduling with the COVID concern. But I guess we have to be ready for district.
Yes, sir.
Whether we are or whether we aren't. So we're going to open with Wagner this week. But before we get to the Wagner game, our district opener, let's bring in assistant athletic coordinator and head volleyball coach Courtney Patton to talk to us about our other sports on campus and how their week went and what's to come. So Coach Patton, take it away.
Thanks, Coach. We've got lots of kids competing right now. The volleyball team beat Clemens last week to stay undefeated in district. Tennis also played Clemens and won with a score of 17-2. This upcoming Tuesday, you'll see them play Judson, and if they can pull out a win, they'll be your district champions. The cross-country team competed at Cedar Park last weekend. The girls' team placed second and were led by Emily Mills, and the boys' team placed fourth. They were led by Garrison Mangum. Their upcoming meet will be at the Southside Invitational. Our golf team competed at the River Crossing tournament and did really well. Upcoming, you'll see them at the Brackenridge tournament. Back to you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach Patton, for that update. And now it's time to talk about Smithson Valley and Wagner, the district opener. And, 27-6A, our league has long been, touted as the toughest league in the region and one of the toughest, if not the toughest, top to bottom in the state of Texas. So we just went ahead and threw a 2 in a row consecutive semifinalist team in there with Wagner, just to go in case anybody thought that it was easy. And that's who we draw first. And so obviously 13-2 records each of the last 2 years. I've got a number of talented kids back from those teams coming. And Coach Westerfer, we'll start with you. Big challenge for our defense this week.
Really well. They run an offense that you don't see. We haven't seen their style of offense since 3 years ago, I guess, the last time we played them. They're kind of the Service Academy triple option team, what used to be Wishbone, but they run it out of double slots. And, it'll be assignment-oriented football. Our kids will have to do a great job of doing their job. They're supposed to have the dive. They got to take the dive. If they're supposed to have the quarterback, they better have the quarterback, and then you better take care of the pitch too, because they'll do all 3 of those options. They run it extremely well. They're well coached. Their O-line is solid, and they got a 4-year starter at fullback who really makes them go, and the quarterback's a returning starter as well. You got to have that offense. Those are the 2 positions you want to have experience at, and Wagner's got plenty of that there. So they will certainly be a challenge for us.
Well, and the thing is, you mentioned you got to have someone on the initial threat, the dive, and then the quarterback, and then the pitch, the 3 options that are all in one play. And you better have somebody on those every time.
Yes, sir.
You can play 50 snaps of defense and play it just right 46 times, and the other 4 snaps could be 28 points. Maybe you can overcome that, maybe you can't. And talented athletes, well-coached athletes. On top of that, tall order. And if you're not careful, they'll beat you with explosives, but they have the ability to beat you with just controlling the ball all night. I know 3 years ago you mentioned when we played them last, they took the opening drive, kickoff, and they drove it, and we stopped them on downs on the 8-yard line, and there were 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Our offense hadn't even been on the field yet. So big challenge. Kids had a good week of practice, though.
Yes, sir. They've been really paying attention to the details, really learning their assignments, practicing seeing their keys. We'll have to come out, and play fast from the beginning. We won't be able, can't take time to adjust. We're going to have to play good from the very first snap on.
Well, and our kids aren't dumb. They know what we're telling them is right. And we throw on that tape, and they can see exactly what we're talking about. They know we're not pulling the wool over their eyes. So, Coach Shin, Wagner on defense, they present a different kind of challenge than what we're talking about offensively. But what do they bring to the table?
Well, just like their offense, they've got some great personnel all over the field. Got guys that can run really well, big guys that are physical, but probably the most important thing that we're going to have to do is handle their multiple fronts. They have multiple 4-down fronts with 2 linebackers in there, 3 linebackers in there, 3 down fronts with 1 linebacker, with 2 linebackers. So we're going to have to do a nice job being on our P's and Q's, communicating, knowing our assignments. They're going to try to stop the run. They're going to do a good job of stopping the run or trying to stop it. And at times will give us some man coverage. And when they do that, we have to take advantage of those opportunities and down the field.
Yeah, another tall child, like you said, okay, we know where they are, we've recognized it, we know who to block, now can you block them? Can you block them, and will the doggone stay blocked?
Yeah.
And, you know, kicking game will play a role too. We mentioned that in the Madison game, you know, our punt versus their punt, our kickoff coverage versus their kickoff coverage, and our returns, and converting field goals and extra points or stopping there. So big games like this one is, a lot of times will boil down to 1 or 2 plays. Now, is it going to be a special teams play, a defensive play, or an offensive play? And which of the 160 plays in the game is going to be the one? We don't know. So you better play well every one of them. And so that's what we're up against. And dadgummit, why couldn't we be in a different league? But we're not. So we hope the Ranger fans will be out at Rutledge Stadium this Friday night. It's a 7:40 kickoff, not 7:30, 7:40 kickoff. And you can be there in person, or you can watch it live on the Rangers Network. You can, if you're not a subscriber already, you can become a subscriber by texting the word Rangers to the number that's on the screen, and you'll get an alert and a link sent to you. You can click it and watch the Rangers live in their district opener this Friday night at Rutledge Stadium. Thank y'all for being here, and we'll see you next time.